Right of speech and prefer to wink, really. But on this occasion I have written one, and I did this because I tend to forget things in my old age, and especially important things like words. So I thought I'd write something. So here it is. I'm here today to say a few words of thanks, most importantly about Ajahn Sumedho. And he is going to sit there, serenely patient and accepting, as he always does, while I say nice things about him. He is here today not simply on account of something I had the extraordinary luck to do many years ago, but because of a monk who created in 1956 the first Sangha in England. His name was Kapilavaja, and almost everyone here will never have heard of him. So I'm only saying this now, but so that now you've heard of him. And it was he who founded the English Sangha Trust, which to this day looks after the worldly affairs of this Sangha. He was a visionary, courageous and dedicated man, capable of touching the heart of anyone who listened to him teach Dhamma. And he certainly did that for me. It is on account of him and Lumpur's teacher Ajahn Chah that you are all here today, and Lumpur sits before you. Now, after 34 years of astonishing development under his guidance, the reach and influence of this Western Sangha is worldwide. Type his name into Google and you get 150,000 pages dedicated to him. In his 76th year, he has announced his retirement, and I know that his heartfelt wish is to become nobody at all. I have to say that he is my very best friend, and so too I know that he has been to every one of you the best friend you could have ever had the good fortune to encounter. Sadly, I have to tell him that his wish to return to life of being nobody is certain never to be granted. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
In Thailand again, and quite looking forward to it. The effect of 44 years of meditation is, I feel that this lifetime has been a great experience. On a personal level, I feel, what did I do to deserve such a good life? And because it has been an amazing experience, just for me as a person, and also an opportunity to practice with this teaching, the Four Noble Truths. Now, Ajahn Chah this was what I really liked about his teaching, was it was based on this first sermon, the Four Noble Truths. And I found this the most profound and useful and practical teaching of them all. It gives you, tells you what the problem is, what to do about it, and then you reflect on the result. So you're always looking at yourself. What is the result of my practice? If it's peaceful or calm, or if I'm just getting upset or unhappy or whatever, then you realize it's because of some kind of ignorance, some kind of blind spot that blinds me from seeing what I'm doing, what I'm grasping. And so applying that over the years here in England, the 2 years we spent in London at Hampstead Vihar, then Chithurst, and then at Amaravati. Since 1984 I've been living there. And of course in anyone's life you're going to have all kinds of ups and downs, successes, failures. People are going to praise you and then blame you and so forth. So I've not escaped any of this. You know, there's been plenty of praise, plenty of blame, and disappointments, and problems, and crises, and so forth, just like any other human being would have. So monastic life doesn't necessarily get you out of it, but it does give you, you know, you've got the tool to deal with change, and this, and to always make that the priority, to put these Four Noble Truths in, like they're with you all the time. You internalize them. They're not just something you read in a book or chant and memorize, but you're actually internalizing them, making them work for you, because they're quite practical. They're not kind of metaphysical subtleties. They're just about suffering, the causes, the end of suffering, and the way to live one's life, not creating suffering. So I think this is a very, you know, a great thing to bring into the consciousness of you all at this time, because the problems that we personally have in so many ways, and then and nationally, internationally, political, economic, social, population pressures, environmental problems, they're endless. You know, there's always some gloom, doom, shadowy presence in this realm. And this realm is a realm where things change, and they don't always change the way that one wants them to change. And so our way of dealing with change is observing it. And so this is the whole essence and thrust of the Buddhist teaching, is this mindfulness, and then there's looking, examining, investigating the causes, and then through that you recognize the cause of suffering is your own ignorant grasping of conditions. And once you see that, then you have that insight, letting go of the causes. And through letting go of the causes, then you realize that the absence of suffering ceases. And that gives you the right understanding, or this perfect understanding, insightful understanding, samadhi, and in how to live one's life, in how to live one's life for the remainder of one's life in this way. It doesn't mean we don't get old, because we get old, get sick, and then eventually die, and you get praise and blame, good fortune, misfortune, whatnot, but not to create suffering onto it, onto the vicissitudes of life, into the experience of life that each one of us has to experience. And this is a wisdom teaching. It's what we call panya, or wisdom, to look into, discern, and see, and know for yourself. So just to recognize that this teaching now is very much available in this country. They've got Chithurst, Amaravati, and then up at Harlem in Northumberland, Ajahn Sumedho's place, Devon, and then in Switzerland, Italy, and so forth. This teaching now is, and the people, the monks, the nuns who've been practicing it, they're not just theoretical Buddhists or missionaries, but you have to practice it. You have to put it to the test, and you find for yourself, because it is a subtle difference, suffering and non-suffering. It's a discernible difference, but it's not obvious. And the realm we live in is a realm of incessant, unrelenting change. So it's all about suffering, the conditioned realm, the aging process, the emotional habits, and the joys and sorrows of this realm, the sensitivity of it, the power of this sense realm that we're experiencing through these physical bodies. It seems almost impossible to not suffer from this kind of relentless impingement on our form, on our bodies, on our senses, and then the consciousness that we have is affected by these conditions. So we blindly react and form habits through our lives, which are, create stress and problems for us. Usually our habit patterns form when we're children, and then we just carry on till we die, till we awaken and understand. So this is an awakening teaching, and it's practical, and I encourage you to try it out, test it out. It is, it isn't magical. It's not like, what I was hoping for actually when I started was get into one of the jhanas and stay there. And bypass, bypass all the suffering of life. So I just tried so hard when I was a layman to concentrate the mind and just trying to suppress the feelings and you had a lot of willpower and determination, but of course it doesn't work, and then the temporary release is so, has its blessings, but also ends, where the mindfulness practice really carries you through to deal with life and to live your life in a way that you see for yourself. You're not getting out of anything, but you're understanding. This profound, insightful understanding of reality is what the Buddha teaching is pointing at. So I offer this as a reflection that today has been a very moving day, having George Sharp here, Mudita, who was one of the early disciples of Luang Por Chah when we first arrived in Hampstead, and Mayor Tenpen and Prasit. I remember when they were invited to, they were refugees in a convent in Brighton, and they couldn't speak the language or anything. They looked so pathetic. And they invited us, the nuns there, the Catholic nuns, invited us to perform a Lao almsgiving ceremony. So I remember the three of us went, myself, an American, a New Zealand monk, and an Italian monk. This is amazing, here we are, an American, New Zealander, and Italian going to a Catholic convent in Brighton to perform a Lao almsgiving ceremony. I think that's a sign of the times. And then over the years to see you all again, and Joan Budd, who was one of the welcoming presences at Chitters Lane. She lives right at the very entrance of Chitters Lane, and she was absolutely delighted when we arrived. We didn't know what the people were going to think, Buddhist monks walking down Chitters Lane. We already had certain difficulties. Some people really didn't want us to be here. But Joan was always welcoming and a good friend of the Sangha from the very beginning. And Barry also. So I express my gratitude and appreciation for everything in my life here in England, and of course there's so many invitations to come back. And Ajahn Amaro will be the abbot, the head monk at Amravati, and he would love me to come back. And Ajahn Sumedho, he wants to build a kuti for me here, special Lumpur kuti, and so forth. So you get all these lovely invitations, but the future's the unknown. I'm not promising anything, and not making any commitments. I like this idea of being free, like open-ended, because my monastic life has been so kind of committed to monasteries for all these years, and either through training or starting monasteries, Wat-Nanachat and then Chithurst and Amaravati. So I have no intention of starting another monastery. So thank you very much.